Man, you come right out of a comic book.
Pulp to Pixel Media.
Exploring the media multiverse of geek culture.
He meddled in things potentially well.
Hello, this is Gotham Sharan, creator of The Last Earth, the science fantasy comic strip you can find on my social media. Today, I've got another one of my speed drawing and process videos. And as you can see, I've done a couple of changes to the format of the videos. I wanted to now include the panel, the final version of the panel, at least as it appears in the strip version, so you can kind of see how this balances out. So hopefully that is a nice addition to these books, to this series. This one, I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite pictures when I did it. I've done some really good ones since then too, but this was one where I really felt like something had clicked. Like, some of my pictures are good. Like, I think the last couple, I had a few that were just like, I felt like were more serviceable than great. But this one, so what I was trying to do, especially with the huge black space, you'll see in this, is I wanted to give the sense that there was this like yawning chasm under Steelheart that he is falling towards. And so I was playing around with that. Now, you'll notice I'm going to change the way the lighting works too. Up until this point, I've been sort of creating this sort of like white circle around the light source, that you can see everything within the white circle, and then at the edges it's the black. But here, I'm playing around more with like the more of the black, like enveloping, and just like light rays coming off of the thing. So this Steelheart and Freefall is what's going on right here. Great. I'm trying to capture a lot of motion. I almost, I want you to kind of feel when you're looking at this, like he's like pinwheeling his arms through the air as he tries to sort of make sure he judges if he's going to make that landing. There you can see I'm using my 1-point perspective tool to kind of work out some like lines. Oh, and you'll see I cut away some of that cliff face too, because I wanted there to be much more black space, under him. I wanted there to be black space under him. All right. So here's where we're having landed. And of course, I wanted to have him land in a situation where he is like right on the edge. Again, that sort of like just landing pinwheel. Again, I probably mentioned this in previous videos, but you can see here's the original pencils, and I stuck pretty fairly to the pencils themselves, my original pencils themselves. But I will say that this Whoomp special effect that I created, and with the cloud of dust that he kind of kicks up when he does it, it does look like he's farting. And so, a friend of mine looking at that pointed that out, and I was like, you know what? I'm leaving it in. It is. I don't think I'll be changing that if I do end up redrawing parts of this, or when I put this into a different edition. Like, again, ultimate goal for this has always been to make sure to get it into physical books, graphic novels, or single issues. Hopefully, graphic novels. Something you can put up on your shelf. Like, I'm not necessarily trying to create some long box, fodder. I want something that you kind of put out. But we'll see how the demand goes and what we decide on this one. But yeah, I love this guy's boot. So this is one of those ones where I really spent a lot of time and detail on that boot. I really wanted to kind of stick out, get that, working really hard to kind of get that metallic look as much as possible. Got to work on that kind of sort of metallic shininess in the character. Oh my gosh, it is so funny. That does look like he is making a fart sound. I can't unsee it now. And I think I'm going to do a little more speed lines here in just a sec. But yeah, I want to, that sense that he just landed on the edge and the it's crumbling out beneath him, and so he's just barely making it. Again, very much like in the spirit of sort of Indiana Jones, especially Raiders of the Lost Ark. I thought a lot about Raiders of the Lost Ark when I'm in the sequence I've been doing right now. All right, there's that version. All right, so this one, I have to say, I ended up using text to convey what I was having trouble showing. So I had to do some tell on this one. But again, I'm trying to convey the sense that there's this like, he's jumped across a deep chasm that is sort of dividing him from his goal, which is these doors that we're about to see here in a second, on the other side of that ravine. And so I was trying my best. I feel like I sort of hit the goal, but didn't quite. I think I needed to either move him further up on the page, and so that there's more black space under, or I just needed to make him smaller, make that part smaller. I'm noticing as I draw, like, I have a tendency to want to draw the whole figure and I'm not quite getting as many close-ups. So I'm trying to work on that as much as possible, trying to move the camera in with the action really close into the faces and stuff so that we can really kind of get the emotions on that. I might be doing that to avoid because, drawing the different emotions on faces is still something I'm learning to do. So, everyone's very angry. Everyone's got a very angry, potentially constipated look on their face, and something I'm working on. As part of the series, the goal of the series is to work on that. I was trying to go for this. I went for all black in the end, but I was trying to go for a sort of lithograph sort of printing effect with that line effect they would do for backgrounds. All right, and now we're at the last part where I am about to reveal and this is probably some of the most dialogue as well to occur in the strip so far. I think it's probably the highest word count of the panel so far. So something I'm going to do a little more. I definitely need to, Alpha Red is this disembodied sort of AI that is in the sort of the armor and cybernetics of Steelheart. And so, I have to really build up the personality of that AI. And really I can only do that obviously through conversations. And so I'm trying as best to write his voice, or its voice, I should say, as if it were, it wasn't sentient, but also is, it sort of gives replies that are almost like canned responses. So it would seem like this is just like a dumb computer just giving out information, but hopefully I'm getting the timing right to kind of give the sense of even in these, what seemingly are very clinical statements, Alpha Red is actually conveying sort of emotion and personality. We'll see. I think it has a lot to do how I rate Steelheart, and his voice is sort of emerging as part of this as well. I'd drawn him a lot, but I hadn't really kind of thought of his voice as much because I was just kind of sort of getting the look right first. A funny story, that lock on that door is supposed to look like the Simon game. I came up with the idea because I'm using a lot of 80s toys and toy designs as sort of my inspiration here. And I later would see, before I did this book, but I think around the time I was coming up with it, Tom Scioli did the same thing in his GoBots for IDW. And so unintentionally got swiped from there. All right. Okay, so that should be the last panel for this week. Thanks again for joining me on my art process journey as I create my comic strip, The Last Earth. You can follow me on the web at www.pulp2pixel.com and on Instagram and Twitter at pulp2pixel. See the show description for links to my LinkTree, my merch store, and donation site. See you next time when we return to the distant future of The Last Earth.